Ever feel like choosing a new guitar pedal is like trying to, pick a single star out of the entire galaxy?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially with all these multi-effects pedals. They're like studios in a box,
Right.
Well, today we're narrowing down that galaxy to one pretty intriguing star, the Veleton GP-200.
Okay.
We're going deep on its features and quirks and, well, its potential.
Yeah, and we're approaching this from two perspectives, which I think is key. We've got the GP-200's user manual, the technical Bible, so to speak,
Yeah.
and then it's Amazon.ca listing,
Right.
to see what's resonating with everyday users.
Exactly. So no better place to start than that Amazon page. Anything jump out at you right off the bat? What's generating buzz?
Honestly, I think the first thing that grabs your attention is just the sheer volume of features,
Okay.
especially considering the price point. 240 effects, and I mean, we're not just talking about a bunch of tremolo variations. You've got amp and cabinet simulations, emulations of like iconic Stompboxes.
Right.
It's a lot to unpack.
Okay, yeah, let's dive into those effects because when I saw the list of amp models in the manual, I actually got a little excited, I'm not going to lie. I mean, Supro, Fender, Marshall, Mesa Boogie. Did they miss anyone?
Right. It's like a who's who of legendary amps.
Yeah.
And, for those wanting those classic rock tones, the Fender 59 Bassman emulation is always a winner.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, the Mesa Boogie Mark II C-Sim, that's where it gets really interesting. I mean, that amp defined 80s metal.
Totally. Makes you think about all the different genres you could explore. And speaking of exploration, I love that Veleton has this no chain thing going on.
Yeah.
11 simultaneous effect blocks. You're not limited to just, a couple of effects at once.
Yeah, and that's huge for experimenting and finding your unique sound.
Right.
It's all about that flexibility, right? You don't have to spend an hour in menus just to add a touch of delay after your overdrive.
Exactly. It's like having a virtual pedal board where you can rearrange on the fly.
Yeah.
And they didn't forget the essentials either. You've got your looper and drum machine, though the manual does mention a 182nd looper limit.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that? Is that going to feel restrictive at all?
It's a fair question. 180 seconds is pretty standard for a built-in looper.
Okay.
Enough for, sketching out ideas.
Right.
Will it satisfy everyone? Maybe not, especially those who are like really deep into looping.
Right.
But it depends on how you intend to use it.
Good point. Now, the Amazon page raves about the user interface being super intuitive. And honestly, the manual almost goes overboard with the details.
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways for you?
Well, the 4.3-inch color screen is a great start.
Yeah.
No more squinting at tiny displays.
Right.
Plus, they've got physical knobs that adapt to whichever amp sim you're using, which is a really thoughtful touch.
Nice.
And then, of course, you've got your customizable foot switches, which are like essential for live use.
It sounds like they really put some thought into making this pedal easy to use on the fly.
Yeah.
But how does it stack up against the competition?
Mm-hmm.
Because we all know price is a factor here.
Right.
Does the GP-200 really deliver more bang for your buck?
Feature-wise, it's definitely punching above its weight class. It'd be tough to find this much versatility at this price point. However, it's worth noting, and the Amazon reviews back this up, there are some trade-offs.
Yeah.
For example, you can only use one effect per block.
So you couldn't, say, stack two different delays for a more complex effect.
Exactly. You get incredible breadth in terms of the range of effects, but there is a limit to how deep you can go with stacking within a single block.
Right.
It's something to consider, depending on your needs.
All right, so we've established that GP-200 isn't just about flashy features.
Right.
The manual, hints at some serious depth, too.
Yeah.
What were your impressions when you started digging into the nitty-gritty?
You know what impressed me was the level of detail they provide for specific use cases.
Right.
Take the FX loop, for example. They
Right.
could have just said, yeah, it's got an FX loop.
Right.
But they go in depth on using it with the 4-cable method, integrating external pedals.
Oh, wow.
It's really for someone who wants that, that fine-grained control over their sound.
It's like they're anticipating the questions before you even ask them.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole section on global settings.
Right.
Which is a gold mine. You can adjust the input impedance matching for different instruments, switch to a no cab mode for going direct, even tweak the global EQ.
Yeah, it's surprisingly comprehensive.
It is.
Yeah.
And these aren't just like throwaway features either.
Right.
Impedance matching, for instance, can drastically change your tone.
Huge.
So having options for different instruments shows,
Absolutely.
they're paying attention to the details.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. And speaking of details, the manual has this whole section on calibrating the expression pedal.
Okay.
I've honestly never seen a multi-effects pedal manual go into that much depth.
Yeah, it's not that common.
Yeah.
It really highlights their focus on precision.
Right.
They want to ensure you have the most accurate and responsive control possible,
Okay.
which is like essential for expression pedals.
It makes you wonder, with all these hidden tweaks and settings, who are they targeting with the GP-200?
Yeah.
Is this for someone who just wants to plug and play?
Right.
Or is it geared towards like a different type of musician?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Based on this level of detail, particularly around things like calibration and specific use cases, it seems like they're trying to appeal to the more experienced player.
Okay.
Someone who, wants to really dig in and tweak to really sculpt their sound.
So maybe not a beginner's pedal then?
I mean, it's
At least not primarily.
It's definitely accessible to beginners.
Okay.
But its full potential shines with someone willing to, like, spend some time with the manual and really explore its intricacies.
It's almost like the GP-200 is like a secret society for guitarists, The more you dig into the manual,
right,
the more you realize how much is hiding under the surface.
Absolutely. And that's part of what makes it so interesting. It's not just a pedal, it's a tool for discovery.
So for our listener who might be itching to try out the Veleton GP-200, what would you say are the key takeaways from our deep dive here?
I think the biggest one is just the sheer value.
Okay.
You're getting an incredible amount for your money, a huge range of effects.
Right.
Amp and cab sims that sound fantastic.
Yeah.
Even a looper and a drum machine to jam with.
Right.
And it's not just a feature list.
Right.
Veleton has clearly put thought into how guitarists actually use these tools with like the intuitive interface and those customizable foot switches.
And let's not forget those hidden depths we found in the manual.
Right.
The level of control you have over like the FX loop, the global settings.
Yeah.
It's like they're inviting you to like get your hands dirty and really sculpt your sound,
Exactly. It's for the experimenter, the tinker, the guitarist who wants to go beyond presets and find their own like unique voice,
Well said. We could keep geeking out over the details all day, but we don't want to spoil all the fun, right? There's a lot more to discover in that manual.
Absolutely. So for anyone listening who loves to, get lost in a good manual and uncover all those hidden gems, the Veleton GP-200 is waiting. Happy exploring.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time.